Since 1962, we have seen how our nation has been falling apart piece by piece. On every level of our society, on our political level, our family level, and most sadly, on our educational level. We have seen our children each day become less interested in our history, feel ashamed of being American, and hate our patriotic symbols. But suppose we want to save this nation. If we want to save everything our founders did for this country, we need to educate ourselves, our children, the family, and most importantly, the rising generation. But what do we need to learn? We need to learn who our fathers were and what they did for this nation. We need to read our founding documents and understand them. If we don't, we will see how our nation falls into the ashes.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Life, Liberty, and Kids. Today I have a very special interview. Today, we're going to be interviewing a very special person for me, someone that I admire, respect, and love very much. Someone who was really at the Trump rally on last July 13th, last Saturday, where they tried to assassinate President Trump. So without further ado, we are going to present today my great friend, a person who I consider family to me, Vanessa Broussard. So today we have Vanessa Broussard, who works for RSBN. She is, can we say presenter? How can we say that?
I am a reporter.
And anchor for RSBN. And RSBN covers all the Trump rallies around the U.S. And like I was saying, I really admire her for all the hard work that she has done. Because it's not easy going around from state to state all around the USA. So, something interesting, Vanessa, is that we met actually in a Trump rally. So imagine, we didn't meet at any normal event. We met at a Trump rally where I met President Trump. And we've been together. We've had the blessing of being together in various CPACs and other amazing Republican events all around the United States. So, please, Vanessa, we're going to be putting now images on the screen. This was the moment when we met each other. We remember that it was I remember it was complete and total rain. It was, first of all, so humid, so hot, and then complete total rain shower.
Yes, absolutely. It was in Miami, Florida. I was there for a Trump rally. You were actually President Trump's special guest that day, and we had a pre-show on stage for the crowd, and we brought up several special guests, and you were one of them. And it was a hot summer day in Florida, and moments later there was a rain shower that came through, and we all hunkered down under a tent. There was the audio tent right next to the stage, and I was right next to you and your family, your beautiful parents. And that's when we really started to get to know each other. I had just finished interviewing you on stage, but it was in that time when that rain shower came through that we were kind of laughing it off, that we were all close together because we were all trying to fit under this small tent. And it was from that moment on that we really clicked and we became friends. And like you just mentioned, you're like my second family now. I always tell you, you're the little brother I've never had, because I do have three brothers. They're all older than me, but you are the little brother that I've never had. And so you and your parents, we have been together through it all, it seems like. And I'm blessed to have met you that day and be a part of the family.
Welcome, Daniel. How cute is he in his suit? He's ready to meet the president.
This guy has the Constitution of the United States where?
Right here.
Right there.
In his pocket.
Tell us a little bit about why you're so passionate about MAGA, the president, and the country.
Well, first of all, because MAGA, for the Democrats, they have to do their homework. MAGA is the people's movement. because we are the people, and MAGA wants to make America great again. The only people who can do that is President Trump and the people. And first of all, I want to give a big round of applause of the people of Miami. How are all my great patriots today?
This kid is 11 years old, and he's about to hold down church here on Sunday morning. Is anybody ready for some church?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people say that rain is a great blessing and it heals a lot. And it was a great blessing to meet you. It was an amazing moment that we shared there. I remember it was actually the exact day was July. It was November 6th, 2022.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Well,
an
it pops up
excellent-
in my memories on my phone every year on that date. And so,
Yeah.
yes, it was a fun day. And you got to meet President Trump that day. And I also remember being on the media risers and you coming by with your dad afterwards and you were yelling, Vanessa, Vanessa, I met President Trump. And I was so excited for you.
Yeah, it was a day full of blessings. Meeting you, meeting President Trump, it was a complete and total blessing. That day was, we can say, a day of God. It was an amazing day. Vanessa, let's get to the point here. You were at the rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, July 13th, last Saturday, when Trump there was an attempt to assassinate President Trump. I want to start with a few questions that are not about the rally, but actually about you and RSBN. How long have you been working for RSBN now?
I've been working with Right Side Broadcasting Network for a little over 2 years, and I anchor. Right now, I'm anchoring the Republican National Convention in Auburn, Alabama area. That's where the RSBN studios are located. So I'm here anchoring in the studio. But usually I'm reporting on the ground with President Trump and the beautiful crowds, the thousands of people that come to every rally. And wherever President Trump goes, we go. So we are a network that follows President Trump. And you can always depend on RSBN because we show the crowds. We always have a photographer there at every event. And that is his designated job, to make sure that he shows the crowds.
Yes, exactly. And Vanessa, how many? I want you to estimate it because I don't think you can really have the exact number. How many rallies do you think you've gone to?
Oh my goodness, I would say probably 3 to 4 dozen. I'm nearing the 50 mark at last count, and so I have to go update my list because I do have a list on my phone of all of the different places where I've been. And interestingly enough, every time you work for the press and you go to check in at an event, they give you a press badge that has President Trump's picture and it says press underneath, and then underneath that it says the city and state. So I have all of those saved. I've collected all of them, and my goal is that when he wins in November and there's no more rallies, that come December, I'm going to have a second Christmas tree with just the badges of all the places that I've gone with the Make America Great Again hat to top the tree.
You've got to send me a photo of that tree. It's gonna look amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. So the day of the rally, what day? What time do you arrive at the rally? Where were you at the rally? Give us a little bit of how it was working.
So basically, RSBN begins our coverage early on. So as President Trump is set to take the stage at 5 p.m., which he was set to take the stage at that time on Saturday, we usually start reporting around 9 a.m., sometimes 10 a.m., sometimes 11 a.m. With that being said, we are on hours before President Trump takes the stage and hours before the pre-program starts. And that pre-program is when you have your surrogates on the ground and also your governors or your state senators in your designated state, wherever the rally is. Just a lot of supporters for President Trump come on stage before he takes the stage. So we're usually live on the ground with the crowds hours and hours in advance. So it's a long day, but it's a beneficial day because everyone is there for the same purpose, to better our country. And so that was the case on Saturday as well. We started our coverage in the morning and we were talking to the different vendors because there was a big line of merchandise booths for people to do their shopping. So we were talking to the vendors and also to the people shopping. And then we moved our way to the crowd closer to the gates as they stood in line waiting for the gates to open. And then we just start talking to the people, the everyday American that we do like every rally. And so talking to them about why they love President Trump, why he's the best man for the job, the difference in the Trump economy versus the Biden economy, administrations, also the border, just everything that you can think of. We let the people tell us what they feel and how they feel and why they are voting the way they vote. So instead of us being telling our opinions and telling the news of the day, which we get to later on in the show when we go inside the gates and we are on the media risers. But for those 4 or 5 hours before we go inside, we let the people do the talking, the American people. So the people at home can see that they're not alone. Every American is suffering right now, and they all want a better America.
Exactly. So usually when you set up inside the rally, it's where does the media usually set?
So there is a media riser, probably 25 to 30 yards away from President Trump, the stage, and it's directly in front of him. And you will see the steps. President Trump always walks up steps to the stage. Well, it's the same case for the media risers. We have to walk up several steps to get onto the riser, and we're always eye to eye with President Trump. So we are at the same level as him, 25 yards or so away, and then the people are seated in between us. There's rows of chairs, and then you have the overflow crowd, which is behind us or on the side of us and behind us, and that is the crowd that they're standing at standing room only.
Okay. And Jay, when you arrived, did you see anything out of the ordinary? Did anything catch your eye?
When I arrived, no, it was an everyday event. Scott Pressler was there because he's been really hitting hard on getting people registered to vote in Pennsylvania. I spoke to him, did an interview with him, and how well the initiative is that he's seeing and getting people registered to vote across the country. And so it was an everyday rally. I talked to the people on the ground for hours. We went up to the media riser when it was time for the gates to open. We talked about the news of the day. And maybe about 10 minutes before President Trump came on stage is when, for a split second, I thought something may be up.
Okay. And why?
So at every single rally, you have lots of Secret Service, you have local police, you have hired security agencies. I never feel unsafe anywhere President Trump is. It never crosses my mind about safety because security is so tight. So security is the least of my concerns because I trust our Secret Service. I trust all the law enforcement officers, the security. Everyone is just working hard and everyone's great. On the topic of snipers, seeing snipers at an event is not uncommon. Anytime you have an outdoor rally, you always see snipers on buildings. That is very common. We see them all of the time. That is not uncommon. I want to reiterate that. We always see snipers. So they are looking from the air, from the top of buildings, and then you have your law enforcement on the ground. Well, so on Saturday, about 10 minutes, it was at 5:54 p.m. I went back and looked at my phone. At 5:54 p.m., President Trump was supposed to take the stage at 5, but President Trump, God love him, he's never on time, but that's okay. I'm a woman. I'm never on time either, so we give him grace for that. He was supposed to take the stage at 5. He did not come on stage till 6:05. 6:05 is when he walked on stage. At 5:54 p.m., 11 minutes beforehand, I have 2 videos on my phone recording the snipers on the building to the left of the stage of President Trump. So to my left, okay? If I'm looking at the stage, it's to my left. There were 2 snipers. Well, I'm sitting there waiting for President Trump, and I noticed that one of the snipers pointed to the area where we later found out that's where the gunman was. At the time, I didn't know, but I saw him point to something in that direction and look back at the second sniper, say something, and then they really started honing in on this area. And they even, one of them, it was on a tilted roof, a sloped roof. He even stepped down a couple of steps and really used his binoculars or whatever technical gear that they have to really focus in on this area. So in my mind, I thought, what do they see? What are they looking at? So I started recording them on my phone, and I actually have 2 videos of that on my phone. That was at 5:54 p.m. At 6:05 p.m., President Trump walks out on stage. At 6:11 p.m., that's when shots were fired. So do the math there. Within 15 minutes, they see something in that direction. Why was President Trump allowed to come on stage? He should have been held back until they figured out what was going on over here in this direction, which we later found out that's where the assassin was, and that's where the gunman was. And so to me, I'm not in law enforcement, but I have enough common sense to think if you see something over there that you're really paying attention to, because I watched them and thought in my mind, what are they looking at? What do they see? Because they were acting different than what I normally see from the snipers, enough for me to record on my phone. They saw something, they should have held President Trump back.
Exactly. And Vanessa, this is a pretty weird question. Usually a lot of people, before something like this happens, they usually have visions of it, or they see something before it, say, wow, that's something that I don't know if it's true or not. Did this ever occur to you before the event?
Not before the event. Like I said, it was right then when I saw the sniper point at something or someone, and then look back at the second sniper. Again, 5:54 p.m., President Trump walked on the stage 11 minutes later, that I thought, what are they looking at? And so I grabbed my phone and recorded them, but there's so much energy, and the crowd's, excited, and the music's playing, and everyone's really, fired up for President Trump, that in that moment when I saw them, just watching, I was like, oh, things must be okay. And I got back in the moment of the rally. And then, of course, when President Trump comes out, all eyes are on President Trump, and I don't think about it anymore.
Exactly. And Vanessa, I want to give a comment here real quick. I think that what they didn't know by doing this assassination attempt at President Trump, is that they're showing that they're scared and that they have nothing else to bring under their sleeves to stop President Trump. They tried to put him in prison. They tried to put fines up on him. They tried to take him to court. They tried the Supreme Court. They tried everything, and they haven't. And also something pretty interesting that I'm sure maybe you don't know this, maybe you do. Did you know that in 1755, so 169 years ago, 1755, something very similar happened to George Washington there? It was the Battle of the French and Indian War, and it was a place that was actually, this is a really weird number, 47.2 miles from where Trump's rally was. It was very close to where today we call Braddock, Pennsylvania. And what happened to President and General George Washington is that he was fighting with the British against the French, and they were ambushed when they were trying to take down a French fort. And they, first of all, took down General Braddock. So George Washington, who was the only other officer who was there, took charge of this battle. And you know what? He received 4 musket balls through his coat, 2 through his hat that knocked it off, and 2 horses were shot under him. Not a single bullet hit George Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Not one. So it looks like Pennsylvania is a godly place, because we've got this, that we have the Declaration of Independence that was signed in 1776. Then we have the Constitution a few years later, the Bill of Rights, and it was the first White House and the Capitol and government offices were at Pennsylvania. So it looks like God has something put in for Pennsylvania, and also God had a bigger plan for George Washington and wouldn't let him die there. And God has bigger plans for Trump to save America and put America back in the original intent of our founding fathers. And that's why he didn't let Trump die that day. And that's why he saved Trump.
You're absolutely right. Pennsylvania has a lot of history, like you just mentioned, and I don't think that crossed the minds of anybody that day. I think it was just a typical rally, and because he's been to Pennsylvania before. And, it was just a typical rally. Look, Butler is a town of 13,000 people. Who would have ever thought that an attempted assassination of a former president would happen in little bitty Butler, Pennsylvania? And we talk about this all the time. Take this assassination, how huge of a deal this is, take that out of the equation, but crime can happen anywhere, whether you're a big city like Chicago or in a small town like Butler, Pennsylvania. Again, 13,000 people on the census. That's their population. And so you always have to be aware. You always have to, keep your head on straight. And just like, like I said, I've never felt unsafe at any Trump rally. Didn't that day either. But I noticed something different about the snipers at that moment at 5:54 p.m. Enough for me to grab my cell phone and start watching. And I encourage everyone to do the same in your neighborhoods. If you see something, say something. Protect yourself, protect your kids. And that video, I've had a lot of people ask me, it has been turned in and over to the FBI for their investigation. But there's a lot of questions that need answered from the Secret Service. Why President Trump was allowed to come on stage, why they didn't stop this gunman if they witnessed him beforehand. Now, I will encourage everyone to watch what they see on social media. There's a lot of conspiracy theories out there, but let the law enforcement officers do their due diligence and investigate this. A lot of people don't trust the FBI under Biden's administration right now. And, that's tough. And I agree with them. The Secret Service, the FBI, there's just a lot that we don't trust right now, a lot of organizations that we don't trust, but we can only give them grace and hope that the truth will come out. We'll see what happens. But watch the speculations on social media and just be careful what you share, because so much of that is not true. Know your sources, trusted sources, before you decide to share and spread misinformation, because that's the last thing we want in this investigation.
Okay, let's just go ahead and toss to them right now. Vanessa and Nikki, take it away, guys.
Breaking news to report to you from Butler, Pennsylvania. I'm Vanessa Broussard along with Nikki Stanzione. Shots ringing out at the Trump rally here in Butler. A fireman somewhere, somebody firing bullets off at President Trump. He hit the ground, as you could see, with cover from the Secret Service. Yes. No word yet on if he has been shot, but there is a gunman somewhere around here ringing out. Everyone's scattered. We ran for our lives. We just didn't know, because we're here on a riser, so we're lifted up on the same level as President Trump, and so we just flew.
Yeah. And Vanessa, last question. What crossed your mind the second that you see President Trump drop down to the floor, when you, first of all, you see him cover his ear, like if something happened, drop down to the floor and Secret Service go and tackle him, kind of?
That's a great question, because I heard the shots fired and there was some type of vehicle that sprayed water. Just think of a firefighter on a 3-alarm fire at a high-rise building and spraying the water from the hose. How powerful that is. This was probably times 3. As soon as shots rang out, that water just flew in front of the crowd. And I later learned that is an attempt to distract a possible shooter, or distract bullets. I really don't know much about it. Once I get to my point here of coming down from the fog I've been in, I'm going to really investigate what those are, because I want to know. That's the journalist in me. We want to know. But I have heard it's a distraction mechanism. So I hear the gun. I'm watching President Trump, and he's actually talking about immigration numbers under his administration versus the Biden administration. And President Trump has done this in the past, but he rarely does it. Rarely does he show graphs on the screens behind him. Praise God, he did it this day, right? So he has a graph that shows the immigration numbers under his administration and how it goes way up under the Biden administration. And so he was showing those numbers. I had placed my cell phone down, grabbed my notebook and a pen, and I was writing down the latest numbers of illegal aliens crossing into our country. At that time, as I'm writing it down and looking, I hear pop, 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 pop. And I look at President Trump, that machine, that truck, whatever it was, blew this powerful water across, and he just fell to the ground. I knew at that second that this was serious. So I jumped off the media risers and took cover, but I was in a spot where I could see him. Now, let me tell you how this works. When we are rolling, videoing live, our cameras are zoomed into President Trump. So the viewers at home could actually get a better view of him than I could with the naked eye. So the viewers at home, like you just mentioned, could see him grab his ear and drop down. I couldn't see that with the naked eye. I'm 25 yards away, right? I just see him turn, pop, 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 look, fall down. I jump off the media risers, and Daniel, it was so fast, but yet it was in slow motion at the same time. Everyone jumps down. People start screaming, jump down, or hunker down. I'm hunkered down by the media riser, and I see Secret Service, they're already jumped on top of him. So I can't see him now, but I can see Secret Service on top of him. And it was probably 30 seconds. I'm really not sure. I have not yet been able to go back and watch it in its entirety because I'm trying to heal from it, and I really don't want to watch right now. And so I've seen clips, but not in its entirety. So I don't know how long he was actually on the ground, but it felt like it was 30 minutes in that time because I was so worried about him. I never took my eyes off of him, and I kept praying, no, 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 no. God, please let him get up, get up, get up, get up. God, please get him up. Well, in that moment, it was quiet. And I didn't know what was going on. Well, our camera was on the edge. We were reporting on the edge of the media riser. And so I crawled on my stomach because I thought at the same time, my mom, she watches every broadcast from beginning to end. I crawled on my stomach and grabbed my phone, but I don't remember this at all because I was in a state of panic and shock, but I also grabbed the microphone. That's the reporter in me. So I grabbed the microphone as well. Somewhere in there, I don't remember. And this time it was so fast. I called my mom, told her I was okay. She told me I called her and she talked to me. I don't remember that at all. I didn't think it was till I got safe in my car that I actually talked to her. But she said I actually did call her and tell her I was okay. In that moment, I'm on the ground reporting that shots have been fired at the Trump rally. I have seen video of it. I've replayed it over and over again. I don't recall any of it at all. So with that being said, Secret Service is over him. Feels like 30 minutes. It may have been 30 seconds. I don't know. Then we hear pop, 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 pop again. And I'm like, oh no, oh no, oh no. But on air, going back and looking at the video, I'm reporting shots fired again, another round of shots being fired. Well, I'm just praying at the time, Daniel. I'm just praying that President Trump is okay. I knew at the time that I wasn't the target, but could be hit in crossfire because I didn't know at the time if it was a gunman or gunmen. I didn't know if it was going to be a monkey see, monkey do situation from Las Vegas, Nevada, when the gunman was in the hotel and shot at the crowd at the concert below. I didn't know, but I was so worried about President Trump that even though I was hunkered down, I never kept my eyes off of him, and I was praying the whole time, God, please get him up, please get him up. So he stands up, and again, this is the naked eye, so I can't see from where I'm standing. I don't know if he is alive, if he's dead, God forbid, if he's been shot multiple times. I just don't know. And it was in that moment that he gave the fist pump. The crowd stands up from the ground. I grab my chest and say, thank God. And on air, you can hear me saying, he's okay, everybody. He's okay. And again, I thought he gave a thumbs up because that's his iconic pose and picture. So I said, he's giving a thumbs up. It ended up being a fist pump. Regardless, he was letting us know that he's okay. I said, thank God. We knew in the moment immediately that the Secret Service would not get him up and carry him off if we weren't in the all clear. So as soon as they picked him up and he gave that fist pump, and I said, praise God, thank God. Me, my co-anchor Nikki, my photographer Petrie, we ran back onto the media risers and we just went with breaking news.
Wow, amazing.
And then from there, I don't want to finish there. From there, we knew he was okay, and helicopters start circling. They start clearing out the crowd. And let me tell you, this is a hero to so many people. He's my hero. I am 42 years old and I've never had a hero. I've had people I love, and I've had people that I've supported, and I have people who I've voted for, but I've never had a hero. And this is 100% my hero. And I know that he is for you, and I know he is for so many other people out there. So to see with my eyes, my hero get shot and drop to the ground, I was shaken up for days, and I'm still shaken up, but I'm coming down. I'm a lot better today than I was yesterday, and I was a lot better yesterday than I was the day before. So I'm doing very well. But in that moment, people were calmly walking out. The security was pushing everybody out to get to their cars. They were crying. It was strangers hugging strangers. People were just, consoling each other. We were reporting on air. Minutes later, maybe within 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, Secret Service comes to us and says, media needs to go right now. We say, we're on air. They said, we've got a suspicious package. Everybody off, get off. And then my photographer says, well, what about our equipment? You can come back and get it later. Go. So we start running to our cars, right? And come to find out, it was the bomb-making materials that the gunman had in his car on premises. So the chaos went down with the gunshots with President Trump, and then it later, just a few minutes later, progressed with a suspicious package found on the property, which we had to run to our cars and quickly get off the property.
Exactly. And they keep repeating the same mistake. People that hate America, people that hate our icons, they keep repeating the same mistake. In 2001, when they did the attempt on the Twin Towers, they thought they were going to divide America. When they brought down the Twin Towers, they thought that we were going to hate each other. But it was when more united we were. And they thought now that with Trump, it was when more sad we are going to be, that we are going to vandalize everything, that we are going to be like them, that destroys everything they see in their path. But no, it made us more strong. It made us more united. So they keep making the same mistake because they don't learn from the mistakes. So Vanessa, thank you so much for allowing me to do this interview. We've passed a little bit of time because I know
that's okay. I want to say too that continue to pray for President Trump. He is fighting an evil none of us are know remotely about. He continues to fight. He continues to, work every single day for us, for our children, for our grandchildren. And I know you've heard it before, but it's absolutely true. This man has literally taken a bullet for us, and he doesn't have to. He's not collecting a paycheck out of it. In his first presidency, he could be living a life of luxury anywhere that he wants to be, but this man continues to fight. He has been thrown accusation after accusation, a mugshot. He's been found guilty in Manhattan by a Democrat judge and DA and jury, and they were supposed to sentence him to jail on July 11th, and then the Supreme Court comes in and says no, presidential immunity still stands in our great country, so they had to back down from that. They keep throwing these stones at him, but he keeps prevailing and keeps standing, and then they can't get him down just days ahead of the RNC by sending him to jail. So their next attempt was an assassination, and the good Lord, he had his hand in there and he distracted that bullet and pushed it in another direction. And I do want to say as well, on that note, our thoughts and prayers are with the other victims of that horrific crime on Saturday, for the families, for the soul of the firefighter who was lost. We're hearing President Trump will be attending that funeral in the coming days. And so we continue to think and pray for those family members, how horrendous that must be for them. And then also for the good Lord to continue to wrap his arms around President Trump, because again, he's fighting an evil none of us know about, and we need to continue to pray for him.
Yeah, exactly. The God just told him, just turn your head like that for 2 seconds. And that's what saved him.
Absolutely.
Literally. And also our prayers for the family of the injured, and for those who are injured. That we know now it was 2 people who were injured at that rally, and their state has been coming up and down, and it's really sad to see that something that was planned for President Trump went and harmed patriotic people who had nothing to do with President Trump, just loved America, just people who really supported President Trump and wanted to make America great again. So our prayers for all those, for the family of the person who died, for the victim of the injured. So our prayers for all of them, and our prayers for President Trump and this great nation.
Absolutely.
Vanessa, thank you so much for allowing me to extend a little bit on time.
Yeah, thank you for having me tonight. I always love talking to you. Of course, my little brother that I never had. And tell your parents I said hello. Great job with what you're doing with the foundation and your show on YouTube. Love to see what you do and all your accomplishments. Everyone follow Daniel. He's the best. And we need more kids just like Daniel in America because they are our future.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. Have a blessed evening. Well, blessed night. What time is it?
It's late, but that's okay.
A blessed night. Thank you so much,
You too.
Vanessa.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Since 1962, we have seen how our nation has been falling apart piece by piece. On every level of our society, on our political level, our family level, and most sadly, on our educational level. We have seen our children each day become less interested in our history, feel ashamed of being American, and hate our patriotic symbols. But suppose we want to save this nation. If we want to save everything our founders did for this country, we need to educate ourselves, our children, the family, and most importantly, the rising generation. But what do we need to learn? We need to learn who our fathers were and what they did for this nation.